All right. Well, that was good, guys. Good job. Give them a round of applause again, yeah? Like herding cats sometimes, maybe a little bit, eh, Shannon? But that's all right. That was really good. Excellent. Yeah, just for a few minutes here, I just kind of want to summarize some of that. And, you know, when up to a few years ago, I could really take or leave the season of Christmas, right? I didn't really like the commercialization of it or the busyness of it. You know what? It just really wasn't my thing. The season of it, and to see people putting up Christmas stuff in November just after Halloween and stuff like that, I just kind of detested those people. You know what I mean? It's like this is not the time to do this, right? But since having kids, it started to change for me a little bit. Partially because it didn't really matter what time of year it was. One of my kids was talking about Christmas, and whether it was in April or July or October, it didn't really matter. I was hearing something about Christmas, and you know what? As they started to get a little bit older, that started to change a little bit for me, and we started to hear Christmas songs all the time as well, right? And partially because, your kids learn how to use Apple Music, and then they learn how to connect to Bluetooth, and then, you know what, you totally have no control anymore. It's game over, right? It's game over on what gets played, and, Jingle Bells in July, that's really just what was going on. But my heart started to change mainly because of my daughter. And she just loves Christmas, and the joy of Christmas just illuminates her. When she speaks about Christmas, she gets so excited, and it doesn't really matter. So we started singing songs together. We started decorating together. I started to enjoy the season a lot more than I used to in the past, right? But you know what? I started to share what Christmas really meant to me, to my kids, and what the importance of that was. And for most Christians, it's about the birth of Jesus. It's about celebrating his birthday, displaying nativity scenes, different things like that. But for me, it's that at one time, around this time of year, the God who created everything fully revealed himself to mankind through his son, Jesus Christ. And so there's this story in Exodus 30 about a guy named Moses. Has everybody heard about Moses? Maybe you haven't read the Bible, maybe you haven't been in churches, but most people have heard this story about Moses, right? He's the guy that God called to take his people out of slavery in Egypt, and he did miraculous signs and wonders, and God split the Red Sea and brought his people through the sea. And then when Moses was on the other side, he was starting to question a little bit about what his purpose was, where God called him to be. And so he started to inquire of God, and he said, God, where do you want me to go? I don't want to go anywhere that you're not telling me where to go. And I thought you were my friend, and I thought you had favor on me. And God comes to him, and he reaffirms him, and he says, yes, I am your friend, and I do have favor on you. And so Moses then asks him this question, and I'll pick up the story in Exodus 30:18, and he says, then Moses asked God to see his glory. And the kids were talking a little bit about the glory of God today, weren't they? And the Lord replied this to Moses. It says, I will make my goodness pass before you, and I will announce to you the meaning of my name, Jehovah, the Lord. I show kindness and mercy to anyone I want to, but you may not see the glory of my face. Man may not see me and live. However, stand here on this rock beside me, and when my glory goes by, I will put you in the cleft of the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed. Then I will remove my hand, and you will see my back, but you will not see my face. And so we see something here of the glory of God being in the face of God. And this old covenant relationship that man had with God, God said, you can't see my face or you would surely die, right? Well, we see in this new covenant because of Jesus. In 2 Corinthians 4:6 it says, for God who said, let there be light in the darkness, and this is speaking of creation, when he said, let there be light in the darkness, has made this light shine in our hearts so we could know the glory of God that is seen in the face of Jesus Christ. And so what we see here is what I said, is that we see the glory of God now. We see his face through the face of Jesus Christ. And so we can know God, we can know his glory. And for me, this light shone in my heart around 24 years ago, and my life has been miraculously transformed ever since. Choose light, these kids said. Well, what does it mean to choose light? In Ephesians 4:18, and I'm just going to summarize this, it tells us that our minds are full of darkness and that people have wandered far from the life God can give us. And because of sin, we've closed our minds and hardened our hearts against him. So when we talk about this light and darkness, you know what? We're talking about a spiritual condition. This condition can be also called spiritually alive or spiritually dead. It's a spiritual condition. It's not a physical condition that we live in, but a spiritual one. You know, if you're here today, you're most likely alive, right? Although, I don't know, maybe if somebody could just poke Gary there and see if he's just sleeping. Okay, good. Yep. So most of us here are alive, right? But we have this spiritual condition, spiritually dead, meaning that we're wandering in life apart from the life of God. Spiritually alive, just meaning that we're walking a life with the presence of God. You know, what I like about this book of the Bible is that it's been written by 40 different authors, containing 60 different books, that have all been written separate of each other, written over a span of thousands of years, all compiled together to say the same thing. It says that mankind was created by, but separated from, their creator by something called sin. It's the story of how a father brought his lost children back to himself. And you know what? There's a great example of this in Isaiah. Isaiah was another old guy, another Old Testament guy. He wrote this book 700 years before Christ came. And he was writing about what he's seen, and he was writing about this person of Jesus. And in Isaiah 53:6, he said, for all like sheep have gone astray. Each of us have turned to our own ways. And so this is what it means to be walking in darkness. It means that we've all turned from God and we're walking in our own ways, the way that we want to walk. And it says, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of all of us. And so because we've turned from God, because we've walked our own ways, it says that God laid the iniquity of us on him. Right before this, Isaiah says in 53:4, it says, surely he took our pain and bore our suffering, yet we consider him punished by God, stricken by him and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was laid on him. So it brought us peace because of him. And by his wounds we were healed. And this healing means that we were cured, we were healed, we were repaired, we were made whole because of Jesus Christ. And so I want us to see something here, is that God did not send his son Jesus to make bad people good. He sent his son Jesus to be a light for people to find their way out of the darkness. He sent his Son to show people who are spiritually dead how to find spiritual life. And more importantly, he sent Jesus so that his lost children could find their way back to him. You know, Christianity is not just a belief, but it's something that we can experience. It's the experience of knowing our Creator. In Deuteronomy 30:19, it says, "Today I have given you a choice between life and death, blessing and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life." So Jesus is the light that we follow out of darkness. When we follow this light, we find ourselves in the presence of God, and that is where we find true life. The Bible calls this the new creation. It's salvation by grace through faith in Jesus. It's not just something we believe, like I said. It's something that we experience when we choose him. So today we all have a choice. We could continue to walk astray, wandering in the dark world, living a life separated from the love and the life that God has for us. Or like you've heard our kids here to say, we can choose life. We can choose to follow Jesus into a life lived in the presence and in the full glory of God. It will change you from the inside out, and nothing will be able to take it away from you. And so, this is what this Christmas concert, Choose Life, was all about.